Hey everybody, it's Comic Crack. I'm back with a mini haul video, this time with words. But before I get into that, I just wanted to thank everybody who commented on Mr. Tom's comic channel, Bang Comics. He really got a thrill out of seeing that his subscriber numbers went up by a couple and that people actually commented on his videos. And just so everybody knows, it is him who's responding to you. So if you do comment, it will be, you will be talking to Mr. Tom. It won't be kind of through me or anything. He kind of tells me what he wants to say, or we discuss it a little bit as we're reading the comments, and then I help him kind of word it. I think it's really important to engage in communication regardless. So I want him to respond to everybody. I think it's kind of A, it's good manners, and B, I want him to experience the fun of doing these kind of things, is talking to other people about the comics that you like or reading that you like in general, and just kind of help him get his own voice. If you do watch the channel, you'll notice that his newest one, I'm behind the camera, and I do I'm still guiding him a little bit and trying to steer his, because I know some of the thoughts that he does have, that I want to steer him to make sure that he says some of the things on camera that I found a little interesting, or kind of keep him on track. But the goal ultimately is to have it be his channel, and I'll only be on if he asks me to be on with him. I really want this to be his own thing, but again, as much his own thing as I will be there all the time. He won't be making videos on his own and posting them. I'm going to be there with him. And then, as that goes for every aspect of it, when he's checking comments and things, he mostly only does that when he comes here, so it's once a week. Probably every Saturday is when he'll be checking comments. I did just give his mom his login information. She has discussed concerns with what he's watching on the internet and things. So one of the things that you can do, as you know, on YouTube is on your channel page, it kind of shows a history of what you've been watching. So that'll alleviate some of her stress. So whether he uses that at home, we'll see. But that's kind of, it's all a new area for us as far as more independence and internet-oriented activities. So it's kind of new territory across the board for both of us. But yeah, just know that he really loves it, and it does excite him. He was pretty excited coming here this Saturday. It's one of the first things he said, hey, we should check my channel to see if anybody commented on my videos. So it's much appreciated. And an extra shout out to Sleepy Reader, who I just watched tonight. He mentioned Mr. Tom's channel on his shout outs video, and I really appreciate that. I'll be sure to show Mr. Tom that little segment as well. Alright, so that's about that. I wanted to say there was another brief little thing. There's a place in town, thanks to Garrett, Comic Guy Rules. He told me that one of the shops in town on Notre Dame, Comic Factory, is having a sale on. They're having kind of an extended sale. Their $1 bins are now 50-cent bins. They've got used graphic novels that are 50% off. And I'm sure they'll be having, they always have a sale on back issues all the time. It's 25% off. But we'll see as it gets into it. Maybe they're going to have a few more sales. I went there today briefly just to look around with the intent of seeing if they had a graphic novel for a Christmas present. A friend of the family's, their kid, or one of their kids rather, is gaining more interest in comics and Pokemon as he's getting older, and he absolutely adores Mr. Tom and thinks that everything Mr. Tom does is the coolest thing ever. We had got him some comics, I think 2 years ago, or maybe it was last year. I don't remember. It might have been 2 years ago though, and apparently he really enjoyed them. So this year I was going to get him a graphic novel as kind of more of an introduction, and then on top of it get him a gift certificate for Galaxy Comics. And then the three of us were going to go down together and spend kind of an afternoon together where we go to the comic shop. He's never been to a comic shop before, so I think it'll be really great for him to go with Mr. Tom and myself and just be able to hunt on the racks and just check things out and spend some time with us, and then pick out some comics that he wants to read, as opposed to us thinking of ideas of maybe he'll like this, maybe he'll like that. He can kind of gravitate towards whatever he wants, with me of course steering a little bit as far as making sure he's getting stuff that's kid appropriate, which is why Galaxy Comics is kind of the place to go, I think, in Winnipeg. They have a pretty good kids section. They've got, and it's all kind of child height where the kids comics are. You know, they have the SpongeBob's, the Adventure Times, the regular shows. They've got some of the superhero stuff that's more towards kids, focused towards kids, Scooby-Doo comics, etc. They've got a good selection of things, so that'll be an exciting trip, I think. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, so on to the mini haul here. We'll start out with the Joe Kubert School Presents First Folio. From what I understand, this was the only issue that came out. Joe Kubert had a school where he was teaching cartooning and just art in general. This book was a chance for his class to showcase some of their work, or some people from his class to showcase their work and actually have it printed and presented in a comic. There's also two other Kuberts in here as well, and their names, Adam and Andy is the name right there for the trophy. Andy, and then this story here is Adam. But then there's some names who aren't Kuberts as well, so a pretty great idea. Rex Lindsay, for example, is the name listed there. A pretty great idea to be able to have your students have this basically to walk away from your class with, something that they've been published in a comic. And I think PC did this a couple of times with some Kubert stuff. It might have been in those horror anthologies or sci-fi anthologies is maybe where they got some of the work from as well. But so that was a nice find there. This TSR is a gaming company, and I've been finding their comics as well, so it's been a nice opportunity to get both of my passions in one. Each of the comics rather comes with a game. The inside front cover is the game board, and then inside is instructions and pieces that you can cut out and mount to comic book backing boards and stuff. Whoops, sorry, knocking you around there. So this is Buck Rogers, the 25th Century. It says on the front 1 of 4. When I was kind of cataloging it in my phone app, it came up as this was issue number 7, so I don't quite understand. But there you go, Buck Rogers. In the last Wordless video, I found issue 3 and 4 of this 4-issue miniseries, RIP. Managed to find issue 1 and 2. So there's number 2, and there's number 1. That went on quite a few issues as well too. I think at least 7, so it might have been kind of 2 mini-series just under the same title. And Marv Wolfman is listed on all of them as well. I don't know if you saw that in the previous video. No matter where I go these days, it seems that Quality Comics and Eagle Comics are just jumping out of the long boxes at me. number 7 of Rogue Trooper. In the previous video I'd found issue number 1 to 5, and then I think I also have issue 11, so now issue 7. I'm getting there, which is pretty exciting. So and again, I mean, what can I tell you about this art? It really appeals to me right about now. And even more exciting, I finally found some Strontium Dog. So this is issue number, it's a special, so it's 1987 special, and it's number 1, 48 pages, no ads. Meet the galaxy's deadliest mutant, his look can kill. And some, again, this is the same artist from Judge Dredd and from the Stainless Steel Rat that I was just reading, so his style is extremely appealing. The coloring is still great in this as well too. It's kind of a brief look. And I didn't find issue number 1, but I found the other issues from the Eagle Comics 4-issue Muty series of Strontium Dog. This is issue number 2. And number 3. And number 4. Very exciting. Really looking forward to digging into these ones. Muted colors a little bit on these issues, but still that fantastic art. Since I've been on this kick of quality comics in Eagle, there was a couple of titles that I'd seen ads for in other comics, and this was one that came up today. Nemesis the Warlock, Alien Terror from Pat Mills and Kevin O'Neill, with a cover by Sam Keith, and it's dated 1989. So this is issue number 1 in a limited edition series, and it looks like it's reprints from, I'm assuming that a lot of this stuff, or all of this stuff, had its beginnings in 2000 AD, but this almost looks like it was in comic strip form, maybe on a weekly basis somewhere. Just from the layout, the way that it has Nemesis the Warlock and the page number at the bottom of it, or maybe it's only like that because it's black and white reproductions. I'm very unfamiliar with a lot of this world of UK comics and things, so I don't really know. And that is, again, that is if this originated in 2000 AD, which I don't even know if that's the case either. So either way, that'll be a cool one, some great black and white art. The Eagle Comics 7-issue Necro series, issue number 1 of Nemesis the Warlock. Didn't find any other ones, no matter how much I dug through the bins. One of the joys and kind of pains of going to these places like, like going to Red River Bookshop, as much fun as it is looking through the bins, it can be a little bit of a pain sometimes when you find a few issues and you're maybe missing one, like that Strontium Dog is a good example. People end up shuffling comics around quite a bit there, so you really have to dig through all of the bins. And, you know, that takes hours and hours, so I just kind of, whenever I go there, I usually focus on one small section and do a really good dig. Next time I come back, I go to another small section and do a good dig again, because things always get mixed up. But even in that digging today, no luck with any more Nemesis. And this one is color. Really neat style to these, very angular look, and I don't know, metallic to everything. Even the main character looks incredibly metallic and shiny, you know. It's pretty great. Jeffrey Jones, Ravens and Rainbows. I feel like I've seen this cover before, so I don't know if this is a duplicate, if I have this one already in my PC. On my little app on my phone, it's not listed that I have it, but it might be because I haven't cataloged it properly. But either way, I'm excited about this one. Even if it is a duplicate, I don't mind having it again. The art in it is fantastic. There's even some, let me see if I can flip to the page here. Sorry, give me 1 second. There's some pinup stuff from, I don't know if it's from an art book or a sketchbook of his that he included in the book, but really great rough style, and it looks like a lot of the stories are from the 70s, reprints of stories from short stories from the 70s. I haven't looked through to see where they originally were published, but it looks great, and with the added bonus of there's plenty of nudity, so that that always works for me. There you go. Very cool looking book. I'm looking forward to digging into that one. There's a whole bunch of Scout comics at Red River Bookshop. At the time when I was pulling stuff out, I had a chunk from the Scout War Shaman series, the first 5 issues in my hand. I didn't know how much he was going to give me. I didn't know that he was going to give me that kind of a discount, so I ended up putting some back because I wanted to stay within a budget. And I've seen those Scout there for a long time. They've been sitting in those bins for years now, and nobody's bought them. So I'm at some point I will go back and start picking these up. I think I have 1 or 2 issues of Scout in my collection already, but I've never read the books because they're so sporadic. You know, issue 4 and issue 12 or something. You know what I mean? So Timothy Truman is somebody I've been reintroduced to through my Aries magazines, and there's the 3D glasses in there. I know that this was his book, so once I saw it in the collection, in the bins there again, it kind of just piqued my interest. Now knowing a little bit more about Timothy Truman, I'd really like to dig into this series and give it a good go. So buy up everything they have at Red River, probably. See what I have to trade. Maybe I have some books that I can trade in. So a 3D one there. Onto some books that Johnny Zero had recommended, and Sleepy Reader had kind of seconded one of them. And then today on Twitter, even Captain Cummings had seconded one of the series I'm going to show. But the first one we'll start with, this is Vermilion. It's issue number 1. Unfortunately, they only had like 3 or 4 issues, but the next one was like issue 8 and then 11 and 13 or something like that. So I only picked up issue number 1 just to give me a chance to get a read of the first issue to see what I'm looking for or what I'm getting myself into here. But I will say this, the art is incredible. I really, really like the look of this just from a quick flip through, and the covers of the other issues were equally impressive. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this, and I hope it's as good as he says. I trust his judgment. I've talked to him quite a bit just in the comments section of videos, and he's kind enough to give me quite a few recommendations, which I had a look for today, but only found these couple of things. The other one I found was a few issues of this Warp from First Comics. They only had 3, and I bought them even though they weren't like a number 1 or they weren't a chunk like back to back early on. I picked them up anyway. It's one that I know that I've seen before, but I don't come across it too often. I don't come across too many First Comics that often, so I thought I should jump on it while I had a chance. So there's issue number 5 and number 7, and this was the series that Sleepy Reader also said that he really enjoyed, and the captain said that he had an issue that he really enjoyed as well. So that's number 7, and this is number 8. There was a bunch of these that I ended up putting back again for budget reasons, but I did stick with this one. It's special number 1, and it's a 64-page double issue, and I think this was kind of $2. So it just looked great. I mean, a female ninja, an ad for Shatter on the back cover, and when I got home and had a quick flip through it, the art looks interesting, to say the least. A good chance to just see if it's something I want to pursue and read some more of. So, pretty great cover though. And finally, another of the Evangeline comics. This is issue number 4 from 1987. This is from the 50-cent bin at the other comic shop. I thought that they had a couple of more Evangelines in those bins. I didn't have a lot of time, as I think I said already, that he was closing a little earlier, going to pick up his son from school, so I kind of had to cut my visit there short. But I'd like to dig through some more and see if he's got any more of these. I enjoyed the special enough. Again, Johnny Zero was saying that this one kind of starts strong and really tapers off this series. I think he was talking about this first comic series. Dr. Monkeybot was mentioning that this was a series that suffered from not being able to find a home and jumping from publisher to publisher. So who knows? Maybe it was all the same stories being published. I don't really know. Although that can't be true, because the special that I had was 2 separate issues combined into one from a previous publisher. So either way, nice to find another one. We'll give it a shot. And actually, we'll just leave that there, because that is the haul. Yeah, thanks very much for watching. And again, thank you very much for the nice comments on Mr. Tom's channel, and we'll talk to you really soon.